Welcome, all you fashionable people, to another glamour-packed show with me, Kat, your Stylissimo host. So sit back, relax, and enjoy a taste of the delights that are about to hit your screens over the next half an hour. Director Jonathan Glazer on location. Diesel's new label, Style Lab. The best in sweaters. The 30th anniversary of Womo Vogue. African fashion in the desert. The sexiest underwear around. And more from the Paris catwalks. We kick off today's show with a one-to-one with British video director Jonathan Glazer. He's directed videos for Radiohead and Jamiroquai, and we caught up with him on the set of his brilliant but controversial video for James Lavelle from Uncle. It's time to meet the man himself.
I studied as a theatre designer and a director, and went to art school and everything, and then started making films while I was there. I've certainly done more commercials than I've done music videos.
Confidence is a preference for the habitual voyeur of what is known as...
I'm attracted by things that are realistic, really. I mean, not brutally realistic, but things that you believe.
Every year we have a mad race. When he reaches the point, I start the clock. Marco against the pint.
The Swinblack commercial is quite a good example because the only way to sell it was to create a real environment, to find actors, or non-actors in this case, who were so realistic, so believable, that you can't doubt it. You just think, well, that's what they do in that village. They've had letters from people apparently saying, when is this event on and where is it? I want to go.
You sure you want to be with me? I'm nothing to get. Let's take a walk, take a rest.
Because Karma Coma was my first video, to be honest with you, I didn't really know what I was doing. I used so many references and parodies and bits and pieces that I'd seen in films that I loved.
Let's take a walk, take a rest.
Big turning point for me was trusting an idea, I suppose. Was thinking, no, I can make that and only that. In the Street Spirit video, for instance, that was about having, it was the idea that you don't land in your dreams, you can't land, and it was trying to create an effect, a visual quality that made you feel like you're walking through treacle. For Jamiroquai, everybody thinks the floor moves, but we actually ended up moving the set. So when you look at it, you have to imagine that the only thing not moving is the floor.
You can tell what magic spells we'll be doing for us.
You know, I said to him at one point, but what I want you to do at that point is move from there to there, and can you really look like this? And he looked at me and said, listen, mate, I've been doing this in front of the mirror for the last 20 years of my life. We shot the Uncle video in East London in a tunnel which was being constructed. And because of that, we had to put up all the lights and paint the lines in the road and clear it all out and make it look like it was, properly functional tunnel. The whole saga with Rabbit in the Headlights being banned was kind of, was a really bitter pill to swallow. The idea was always going to be contentious because of what was happening, but I was very conscious of trying to make something which was non-sensationalist. I wanted it to be real. Well, the end shot had to be, you had to somehow get interaction of this car around the character, around the actor. The car was rigged with explosives, and it hits a post which is cut into the same shape as the actor. And on impact, it wraps around that particular shape. And then we put the actor harmlessly in the position of where the post was and shoot him separately and then combine the two elements. When artists are brave enough to do things and record companies are brave enough to do things and directors are brave enough to do things, then you can end up, you know, changing the rules a bit. And that's the nicest thing about it all, isn't it?
From video back to fashion. When Italian label Diesel hit the high streets a few years back, we all went mad for it. Stylissimo caught up with the creators of the label when they recently launched Style Lab, their more exclusive line of clothing. So take a front row seat in the audience with Sporty Spice as we bring you Diesel's catwalk show for Style Lab that took place in London amongst a very unusual setting.
This is a new way how to show a collection.
It's an unconventional show.
It starts at nighttime and then daylight comes. The models walk out. Each model is hot and they're kind of distraught. They don't know where they are.
The setting's quite surreal, so I think they want us not the normal sort of posy, but to be kind of slightly almost like we've got sunstroke kind of days.
Stranded, which is actually the whole theme of this Style Lab show. Stranded as if you're in a desert island, only sand around you, fringe clothes, really light, transparent clothing, kind of destroyed almost.
Oh gosh, it's crazy. I mean, there's hills and the sand is really steep, so your heels sink in. But they said that if you can't walk in them, you could take it off.
I like Diesel stuff and I just thought I'd come and have a look and see what's happening.
Style Lab for us is experiment on fabrics, on graphics, on yarns, on new kind of treatments, new kind of silhouettes.
I think it moves away from like the denim ranges that they've generally done. I think it's a bit more casual, so it basically goes to different people, as opposed to where the others are pretty classic jacket and jeans sort of label.
There's one overflowing theme, which is kind of the underwater world.
Wearing seafood dress and it's going to be wet, soaking wet, so I could just come out and see.
Some damn good old clothes there. Wow.
Who going to buy this product are the most avant-garde people in fashion clothing.
It's like cool stuff and it's not that expensive, you know what I mean? So you don't feel guilty buying it.
Yeah, I hope it can become the experiment, maybe for the new millennium.
As the winter months approach, you're going to want to wrap up in warm but stylish clothes. Always providing help on the glamour front, Stylissimo's directory for this show is the most fashionable sweaters around. Take a look at this. We're reaching the halfway mark, but worry not, because I'll be back after the break with the 30th anniversary of top fashion magazine Womo Vogue, a fashion show in the Sahara Desert, sexy underwear, and more looks from the Paris catwalks. So if you know what's good for you, don't move.
Music for the music fanatic, only on MTV.
MTV is music television.
Little girls get bigger every day. Little girls, thank heaven for them all, no matter where, no matter who. Little boys do.
Think I'm in love.
So soon. This is Drive. It's a 4-CD set with the 60 most exhilarating open-air tracks ever written. With classic artists like Eric Clapton, John and Vangelis, Fleetwood Mac, the Christians and Chris de Burgh. It just hits the road and keeps going.
My name is Luca.
But you can't buy it in the shops. You have to order by phone. To get your copy, call now. Inside at Polygram. We know great music when we hear it.
A very special Christmas 3, where Christmas music gets a makeover from today's top artists.
Santa baby. You saw these first on MTV.
Aerosmith.
Don't want to miss a thing.
It's the gift of a lifetime.
This is a wonderful house. You're very lucky.
Exhilarating. Intoxicating.
You think murder was funny?
And a lifetime curse.
What have you done?
You might like to check where you buried the bodies.
Are you all right, Mr. Earnsmith? You look a little pale.
A murderous Christmas. Ruth Rendell's Fatal Inversion. This Christmas on BBC Prime.
MTV. Lead, don't follow. So 90s. Hits of the decade. Songs from the 90s. Non-stop hits. All your favorites played back to back. Hit after hit. You saw these first on MTV.
Beastie Boys.
Intergalactic. The biggest and best of 98.
Eagle Eye Cherry.
Falling in Love Again.
Manic Street Preachers.
If you tolerate this, your children will be next.
Fatboy Slim.
Praise you. The biggest and best of 98. MTV. Lead, don't follow.
If you just tuned in, I'm Kat and you're watching Stylissimo. It's time now to pay tribute to one of the oldest and most influential men's fashion magazines in the business, Uomo Vogue. The publication recently celebrated its 30th birthday in Florence, where a host of designers came together to pay their respects to 3 decades of style. We caught up with some of the famous faces who have graced the pages of the magazine to talk to them about the impact Uomo Vogue has made over the years. And here's what they had to say.
It's an exhibition on 30 years of Uomo Vogue.
Uomo Vogue is one of the most influential men's fashion magazines in the world.
It's not only a photographic exhibition, because I really want to give you the idea what has been the change that we have had in the last 30 years.
C'è una serie di cose che ci ricordano un passato poi così non così lontano. Ci sono delle realtà attuali. È bello vedere questi contrasti.
In the 70s, it was a time where it was, you know, like people living in community, you know, where they were all together. So maybe it's a spirit. Here, in the 90s, you are more with the personality and individual. So it means that maybe the men are more alone now than they were in the 70s, I suppose.
To choose 250 pictures for the book, we have seen 30 years.
Abbiamo scelto quello che è attuale oggi, benché sia stato fatto 10, 20, 30 anni fa, e ovviamente anche quello che è attuale oggi perché è stato fatto adesso.
All'inizio è stato molto significativo perché esisteva praticamente solo Uomo Vogue.
Cioè è stato un po' un libro universitario per portare la gente alla moda.
It's really, you know, in a sense, the Bible for menswear worldwide.
They put the clothes and the fashion on people that were known. It was not like only model, only fashion victim can wear it.
We didn't look at anybody else, we just made our own magazine. That's the only way to make something interesting.
It's one of the few magazines that can permit themselves to also push image as well as product.
Photography is, in a sense, the last design. You know, if you don't have a picture of what you've done to excite people to go into the store to see it, they don't necessarily get into the stores.
The models sometimes has been chosen from the photographers, sometimes because we see somebody that we think is good, or sometimes only because we think that it reflects exactly what the idea of the man that we have in this moment, even if sometimes they're awful. So, but it's good for this special moment, so we use it.
It's the Italian fashion magazines they all look for, and it comes out just before the shows start. And if you're in that issue, you know, you're going to book a lot of shows.
You can definitely tell a difference from when you go to a casting with like maybe a few tests in your book or whatever, you know, and then the next day if I walked into a casting with a Uomo Vogue cover, you know, most definitely they're going to be, oh, okay.
Thank God for that magazine. Keeps us alive.
For everybody is a sort of pride to be in this magazine.
It's photographed by very good photographers that made beautiful image, beautiful photo. So if it means beautiful image, beautiful photo, it's very good for me. And people can love those photos and maybe love those clothes and maybe buy the clothes.
From one continent to the next. We're off to Africa now, Niger to be exact, as Stylissimo went to meet international designer Al Fadi, who was responsible for getting together all the major African designers to celebrate the culture of Africa and its fashion. Stylissimo went to check out the first ever catwalk to take place in the Sahara Desert. And it was breathtaking, as I'm sure you'll agree after you've seen this.
We're here to raise awareness to the African crafts, African creativity.
Most of the time, the image of Africa throughout the Western world is quite a negative image. We just saw people starving, AIDS, war, and it's not all of that. It's also a lot of other aspects, cultural aspects, arts, and all other things. Al Fadi has all of us African designers to meet here in the desert of Tenere in Niger.
I'm happy to get all my friends here from Africa, from Europe, from America, from Chinese, from Japan. Kenzo is here. This is very important for me, and my dream is here now.
Six months ago, my friend called me, you want to go to Niger? I say, of course, yes, because one of my dreams.
A lot of these designers come from different places, not just from Africa, but all of their thoughts are focused on the African continent and the African people and the African styles.
This mixture of designers should be a good thing for us in terms of what we have to learn from them, and also what they have to learn from us.
I think the main point is to gather, like designers, exchanging ideas and maybe make a little talk about Africa.
I think it's time that people should judge each designer for the good work that they do instead of just they're from Africa, and I think that's why we're here.
We are in the desert because desert is neutral, and he can see who is who, and he can show really African can do it too.
From outerwear to underwear, lingerie has never been so sexy. Girls, it might be time to rethink your wardrobe after you see this next directory. And boys too.
All I need is a little time to get behind the sun and cast my weight. All I need is peace, this mind I can celebrate. All I know is something to give. Something to give. All I know is something to do. There's something to do. All I know is something to live with you. With you. Behind the sun and cast his way. All I need's a place to find, and there I'll celebrate. All I know is something to give. Something to give. All I know is something to do. All I know there's something to do. All I know is something to live. With you.
another half an hour of our time almost up. But before I leave you, I've got one more treat in store. Feast your eyes now on 3 of the most glamorous Paris catwalks. Enjoy, and I'll see you same time, same place next week. Bye for now.